The world has never witnessed a revolution like it. In a few short centuries, a simple carpenter from Nazareth, crucified as a criminal by Rome, became the living head of the mightiest religious empire the world has ever known. Rome, master of the planet, conqueror of nations, worshipper of 1,000 gods, fell to its knees before a man it had executed, not by the sword, not by armies, but by the sheer spiritual power of the religion of Jesus. And then, the unthinkable happened. Rome rose again, this time inside the church. The conquered became the conqueror. The teachings of Jesus were swallowed whole by the institutions of Caesar, the philosophy of Greece, the mystery cults of Persia. By the 4th century, the religion of Jesus had been transformed into the religion about Jesus, a new paganism, wearing the robes of the Master. The simple gospel of the kingdom was buried beneath creeds, rituals, hierarchies, and holy wars. The living spirit was chained inside stone cathedrals. And when the church finally collapsed under the weight of its own corruption, its exhausted body did not die. It simply changed clothes. It became modern secular civilization. Democracy, science, humanism, materialism, all of it, nothing but the secularized ghost of institutional Christianity, still walking the earth, still preaching Christian ethics, while denying the spiritual power that gave them birth. The West today is not post-Christian, it is sub-Christian, it is Christianity exhausted, its corpse still twitching, in laboratories and parliaments, still mouthing the words of Jesus, with no idea where they came from. This is the story the world does not want told. This is the warning modern man refuses to hear. It is spoken to every soul that still hungers for truth, in a civilization that has forgotten God. Listen, while there is still time. After Pentecost, a handful of frightened Galileans walked out into a hostile empire with nothing but a message and the spirit of truth burning in their hearts. No armies backed them, no emperor endorsed them, no wealth financed them. Yet within 300 years the religion of Jesus had swallowed the Roman world. Why? Not because of miracles alone, not because of clever theology, but because the common people heard a message they had never heard before and felt a presence they could not deny. They met a man who treated women as spiritual equals, who touched lepers, who forgave prostitutes, who told tax collectors and zealots they could sit at the same table as sons of the same Father. That man was still alive. They knew it. They had seen him. They had eaten with him after he rose. Death itself had been defeated. That news was dynamite. It exploded across the empire, carried by slaves, merchants, soldiers, women, the very people Rome despised. Wherever they went, they lived the gospel before they spoke it, feeding the poor, visiting prisoners, nursing the plague-stricken when everyone else fled. Rome did not persecute them for loving a crucified man, but for daring to proclaim a new kingdom. Yet in the face of Rome's fury, they worshipped a master who had revealed the Father's love by living as a Son of Man and conquering death as a Son of God. Roman society had never seen courage like this. It had never seen joy in the face of death. It had never seen slaves and nobles calling each other brother and sister and meaning it. That is what conquered Rome. Not the miracles, not the creeds, not the later cathedrals. Jesus himself. The living Jesus walking again in the lives of his followers was the unstoppable force that brought the empire to its knees. And Rome never recovered. But the story does not end there. Next came the Great Compromise. And then Rome struck back. The empire that had been conquered by the Spirit of Jesus did not stay conquered. It learned the new faith's power and decided to possess it. Slowly, relentlessly, the institutions of Caesar began to clothe themselves in the garments of Christ. Mithraism gave its rights, its priesthood, its December 25th birthday of the unconquered Son, its dramatic sacraments of blood and rebirth. And the Church took them. By the 4th century, a new religion had been born. Not the gospel of the kingdom, not the old paganism, but a hybrid baptized in Roman water and crowned with Roman authority. One man sealed the bargain. Constantine saw the cross in the heavens and heard the promise. In this sign conquer. He conquered. Then he handed the Church the sword he had used. Councils were summoned. Creeds were forged in fear and politics. Dissenters were exiled or silenced forever. The simple message of sonship and brotherhood was buried beneath theology. Only philosophers could explain and only the state could enforce. The religion of Jesus became the religion of Rome. The Spirit was chained. The Master was enthroned not in living hearts but in marble palaces. Rome had not been converted, it had converted Christianity. The light of the first 3 centuries was swallowed by darkness that called itself the Church. But the tragedy was only beginning. But the darkness had deeper roots than Rome alone. Long before Constantine, a subtler conqueror had already entered the Church through the front door, wearing the robes of a friend. Greece. The religion of Jesus was a religion of the Spirit, of experience, of doing the will of the Father. The religion about Jesus became a religion of the mind, of speculation, of Greek philosophy dressed in gospel language. Paul fought it while he lived, but after Paul, the Greeks won. Philo merged Moses with Plato. Origen baptized Neoplatonism. Augustine crowned the marriage with his doctrine of original sin and predestined grace. The simple "follow me" became a labyrinth only scholars could navigate. The living water of the kingdom was poured into Greek wineskins until the wineskins burst and the water was lost. Faith became belief, sonship became dogma. The Spirit of truth was imprisoned in creeds and guarded by philosophers who had never met the Master. By the time the Church became Roman, it had already become Greek, and the Jesus of living experience was replaced forever by the Christ of metaphysics. The tragedy was complete, but the story was not over. The Church did not die. It simply changed clothes one final time. When the medieval synthesis finally collapsed under its own corruption and contradiction, The exhausted body of institutional Christianity did not return to Jesus. It declared itself free from the very God who had given it birth. Science inherited the throne and crowned itself the new high priest. Democracy took the bishop's mitre and called it liberty. Humanism stole the language of Christian ethics while denying the spirit that breathed it. Modern man, proud, prosperous and spiritually bankrupt, kept all the fruits of 2,000 years of Christianity while quietly walking away from the tree that grew them. He kept the dignity of the individual but forgot the Father who declared it. He kept the idea of progress but lost the kingdom that gave it meaning. He kept the dream of brotherhood but rejected the spirit that could make it real. The West today is not post-Christian. It is Christianity stripped of Christ, exhausted and dying of thirst beside the well it refuses to drink from. This is secular civilization, the corpse of the church still walking, still preaching Christian values in classrooms, media and marketplaces, with no idea where those values came from or how to renew them. The tragedy is complete, but the diagnosis is not the end. Science cannot save this age. Democracy cannot save it. Humanism cannot save it. The church has failed Jesus. Secular civilization is failing man. Both are exhausted. Yet the Spirit of truth still hovers over the chaos, like it hovered over the waters at the beginning. A new revelation is coming. Not another church, not another philosophy, not another reformation. A new revelation of the living Jesus to the soul of modern man. Larger than Moses, clearer than Buddha, more personal than the prophets, more cosmic than Paul. It is already here. It waits only for a generation brave enough to receive it and live it. The hour is late. The old wineskins have burst. The night is far spent, but the dawn is breaking. Will we awaken and walk into the light? Or will we sleep while the world dies of thirst? The choice is ours, and the time is now. Rise, embrace the light of truth. The future belongs to those who seek it.